So if you're looking for a low cost and a simple way of creating a trellis system for your undercover tomatoes, then you've come to the right place. I'm here in the Polycrub, although it feels a lot more like a sauna. And as you can see, the tomatoes behind me are in need of a support system. So I'm going to show you the method that I use. It is dead simple, and I use it every single season for really great results. This trellis system is for indeterminate tomatoes. So indeterminate tomatoes are ones that just keep on growing upwards. They send flowers off the side of the shoots, but they keep on yielding until the weather conditions worsen. For example, when they get the first frost. So why do we need to support tomatoes? Well, to put it simply, they can't hold themselves up. You can see the tomatoes here are beginning to flop over. And the other thing is, when they are producing fruit, the fruit are pretty heavy. So you need to make sure that the tomato plants aren't going to collapse and that you can support the plants to bear as much fruit as possible. Even though it's a stunning day today, the climate I'm in is usually a little bit too cold and damp for successful outdoor tomato plant production, which is why I dedicate the undercover spaces for tomatoes, and they are perhaps the most important crop of the year because they're so easy to store over winter to get that amazing taste of summer. So if you're looking for a way of trellising your tomatoes outside, then I recommend you watch a video here that James Prigioni made, and that's a kind of a similar system that will really help you out. The first consideration that you need to make for a tomato trellis system in an undercover growing space is to put in the overhead support first. This is a really discreet system and method of creating overhead support. Now, I've got two of these overhead support wires running along the Polycrub, so that means that I can have 2 rows of tomatoes to grow vertically. Now, it's a really simple thing to put together. I'm using a turnbuckle wire tension method, and all I do first was put in these, I think they're called vine eye hooks, along the midpoints, and then at the end I installed another couple of vine eye hooks, and then onto one of the ends I then put that kind of turnbuckle tension piece. At one of the ends, which is kind of more of the round donut shape, I put wire through it, and then I used a wire crimpling method to attach that, and you can see in the footage how that is done. It's really simple. Then I use the wire and I run it through in between these vine eye hooks, so they're caught in between, and then I use the method on the other end. It's a little bit more fiddly on the other end, but I just attach it to a turnbuckle tension mechanism again. I use a crimping tool, and then of course I use a wire cutter to cut off any excess wire. And then the final thing to do is to just turn the turnbuckle mechanism, and it makes this nice and taut. It's really as simple as that, and it's really low cost. If you're interested in creating the exact same system for overhead support, there'll be some links down below in the video description to take you straight to all of the items that you'll need. Here in the solar tunnel we've got these metal bars which you can attach the turnbuckle wire system to. However, if you're looking for a short-term fix, you can just get creative and attach some heavy duty string that you can then tie string to and run down to the tomato plants. Once our overhead supports are in place, the next thing to think about is a type of string that we're going to use to tie at the top and bring down to our tomato plants. Now for me, I try and avoid plastic wherever possible, so I actually use jute. Jute is made out of a natural fibre, and it works great because at the end of the season I can chuck it onto the compost pile and it will break down. Now, one thing you do want to bear in mind is sometimes people recommend, and I've tried this before, burying string under the tomato plant as you're transplanting it to act as support so the roots grow around and hold it in. Now with something like jute, that isn't going to work. It's going to break down, and then suddenly all your tomato plants are going to collapse, and that's something that I actually learned the hard way. All I'm going to do here is tie a bit of string, which is then going to run down to the tomato plant beneath it. Now using the end, I'm going to gently drop this down to the base and pull it up, and I'm just going to make sure that it's just a fairly tight knot so it's not really going to go anywhere. Just kind of a double knot like that, pull it tight, and that's going to work fine. Now, because of the tension of it when it's going down, it's not going to move up or down the wire. Once you've got your string, it's to bring it kind of down to the base of the plant, soil level, and then give an extra 30 centimeters or so going out one side and cut it there. For each tomato plant here in the Polycrub, I've added an individual bit of string hanging down, and the important thing when tying the string to the tomato plant is to maintain a constant kind of tension as you're pulling down. So here, I'll just demonstrate. I'm pulling down with my left hand, and I'm just going to bring it around like that, okay? And then I'm going to, again, still pulling down. This is the trickiest part. I'm just going to make a little knot here. Just a very simple knot, nothing special, because I'm going to use a double knot. And as I'm pulling down, I'm also pulling this on my right back up. So you can see that it maintains tension and it flicks up. Now this has got some space. You can see I can fit my finger through. Just so the tomato plant can mature and swell and it's not going to choke the stem. So I'm happy with that. Just give it a little tighten. Okay, still can just about fit my finger through, and then I'm going to go around and just make one more knot so I can keep it in place. And it's really as simple as that. It might take you a couple of goes to get used to it, but that is it, that's all it takes. Now the final thing to do for your plant is to gradually and carefully twist this bit of string around. So just imagine it going up like a spiral staircase. So you just want to be as delicate as possible, take your time, moving the tomato plant out of the way and I'm going to pinch off that sucker there, as you work up the plant. And all this does, this kind of staircase, spiral staircase motion, is just help keep the plant nice and strong. It's not going to flip over to any direction, and it's going to encourage it by supporting its weight to grow upwards. So I'll just go around once more, and it's literally as simple as that for the process, and now I just need to do that for the rest of the plants. Now you don't want these strings to be too tight or too taut on purpose, because as the tomato plants grow up and you wrap the string around the plants, the more you wrap the plants, the more taut or the higher this tension is going to be. It's going to be really hard to wrap your plants if right at the start you make this kind of really tense. And the great thing about the turnbuckles on either side is you can either tighten or loosen them to work with your tomato plants. So there are two big benefits for gardeners who use this method of string for tomato trellising. The first is that because there's no stakes involved, it makes it very easy to work around the plants, both in terms of pruning and more excitingly harvesting. And the other benefit is because it is minimalist, it's going to increase and improve the airflow around the plants, and that means it's going to help prevent potential disease issues arising. Now there's another benefit for using the string method, and that's at the end of the season. When it comes to clearing up your tomato plants, all you do is you cut the string at the top, remove the tomato plant and chuck everything onto the compost pile. It couldn't be simpler. I think when we're trying to decide what system is the most efficient, we forget about the end part, the tidying up, and it's just something that's definitely worth considering. So there you have it, a really simple, low-cost way of creating a trellis system for your undercover tomatoes. If you're new to growing tomatoes, there's a video that I recommend you watch, which is really going to help ensure you have a successful crop. If you found this video useful, please do give it a thumbs up, it really helps, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.